Well, we did it.
Did what?
You know what we did. And unfortunately, there's no coming back from it.
What did we do?
We are guilty as charged. We saw the death on the Nile.
Yes, we did. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to R&B Reviews. I am Rob, and once again I am joined by my guest reviewer, Darren.
Howdy, y'all.
And this is actually the first theatrical release we've seen of 2022.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, and I know, well, for those of you that don't know about Death on the Nile, it's actually a sequel to the 2017 Murder on the Orient Express that features Kenneth Branagh as the Belgian sleuth Hercule Poirot. And both movies are based on the books by Agatha Christie. Now, the book was originally filmed in 1978 with Peter Ustinov as Hercule Poirot. This one has had quite a number of delays, Darren, because this movie was supposed to be released in 2019. Then it got pushed back.
Many delays.
Yeah, it got pushed back into 2020. Then, of course, the COVID pandemic happened, and then it got pushed to, like, I think it was fall of 2020, and they thought, oh, okay, everything's going to be better. And then it got pushed to April 3rd of 2021, and then of course the Armie Hammer controversy happened, and then but in the end they decided it was too expensive to replace Armie Hammer. They just decided to drop the movie off and release it in theaters the weekend of February 11th of 2022. And I know you and I, for personal reasons, we had to delay doing this review for, because we had stuff going on in our lives. So, but now we're here.
Yeah.
We're here finally reviewing the movie.
Yes.
Basically, the story is Hercule Poirot is vacationing aboard a glamorous river steamer in the river Nile in Egypt, and then it turns terrifying as a search for murder takes place when a newlywed couple's perfect honeymoon is tragically cut short. And like Murder on the Orient Express, this movie is made up of an all-star cast of proven as well as upcoming talent. Like you got Tom Bateman, Annette Benning, Russell Brand, interestingly enough, Ali Fazal, Dawn French, Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, as I mentioned, Rose Leslie, Emma Mackey. It's Mackey or is it Mackey?
It might even be Mackey for all I
Mackey,
know.
But,
I don't know.
But she's from the show Sex Education.
Sex Education.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sophie Okonedo, Jennifer Saunders, and of course Letitia Wright. So, Darren, I know you had wanted to see this. Now, let me ask you this. Did you see Murder on the Orient Express?
I did not.
Okay, well, don't worry. I don't think you have to have seen the first movie to get it. So, I know you've wanted to see this movie since 2021 or 2020, I should say. Did it live up to your expectations?
I mean, the trailers, they were just awesome. It did not live up to the hype, and unfortunately, it's nothing to take my hat off to. But I definitely was really excited to see Emma Mackey because I did watch Sex Education, and she was absolutely wonderful in it. Her character in Death on the Nile was wonderful as well. I mean, she had so many different layers to it, and I mean, she played her character to an absolute T. Granted, I don't know really that T because I don't read the book series, and I didn't see the other works like the Murder on Orient Express. But she was the most memorable character to me. Like even Gal Gadot, as star-studded as she is, didn't even compare to Emma Mackey. I thought the movie was stunning. I really did, but it felt like it was I mean, it's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
Okay. But it felt like they were playing Clue on a boat, is my overall thing. And I don't even know what that whole intro, to me, it just didn't need to be there.
Oh, you're talking about the first scene.
Right.
I slightly disagree with you on that because...
And why is that, Rob?
Okay, well, for one thing, I like this movie slightly more than Murder on the Orient Express, but slightly. The reason is, I think Poirot is given more complexity in this movie than he was in the first one. I think in that first scene, and even the very last scene, which I won't, of course, give away, I think it shows a little bit more why he's a loner and why he's always doing cases by himself. And I think you're given a little bit more background than in the first film.
Okay, well, I disagree with you with that because, I mean, even though Kenneth Branagh, he was the main character, like his performance, it just seemed like it just didn't even matter to me for everything that was going on between Gabot, Armie Hammer, and Emma Mackey. He was almost like the narrator, but he got lost like in the shuffle. To me,
I disagree. I think his performance here was much better than in the first film. And I like that he, like I said, I feel like he had more of a personality here, and I feel like Branagh was good with like the character's obsessive compulsiveness that he does throughout the movie. Well, let's get back to the cast for a little bit. Now, I thought the cast for the most part was good. I liked Emma Mackey as Jacqueline. I thought she was the best.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah, and she was good as the delusional Jacqueline. I liked the craziness she kind of portrays in her eyes, like when she's talking to Poirot and other characters to it.
So many layers.
A lot of the characters had, where they're saying something through their faces without actually saying it. And Letitia Wright from Black Panther kind of surprised me a bit with her southern accent.
She definitely was another one. I didn't even know that was her. I definitely really think like most British people, most British actors and actresses, they really can play like so many layers. I think Australians are another example of that as well. But I really love the characters. I just did not love the story. Yeah, it just didn't hit home for me.
Yeah,
this one.
And I was surprised by Russell Brand. I don't like him as a comic, but I thought he was really good in the role. And then of course Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French, were comics in England. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more comedy in their character, but I really thought that, again, on the technical side, I liked Branagh's use of the mobile cameras. They didn't always work, and I thought the mood and atmosphere was good for the most part. But something that I didn't really like, I don't know if you felt this way, but the visuals were hit and miss with me. Sometimes I could tell they were fake, and it took me out a little bit.
I can see where you see that.
And I think the characters had some interesting personalities, but some of them I felt like they could have gone even more. There was enough there to get started, but I felt like there was more to it. But I also felt like I didn't feel on the edge of my seat suspense like I wanted to, because this is a murder mystery.
I didn't either. And I mean the trailer, like, it just really played up like all this mystery that's going to happen, and just all this, this plan like laid out, and I thought it was just going to be just a thriller more than anything, and it absolutely kind of just. It lacked so much. It ended up being a dud.
Well, yeah.
For me.
My problem with it was, I think there's a few times in the first two acts, and especially in the third act, where I'm like, okay, get to the point. Because, there are some...
I was the same way. Yeah. I was the same way.
I thought... I have seen some movies where if it's done right, if it's a murder mystery, it's like, okay, we spend an hour watching these characters do stuff. If they're interesting, if it's shot right, doesn't bother me. But here, I felt like it didn't completely... work. So
and another thing that didn't work for me was the audience that we saw it with. That lady in front of us, she just would not shut up. They talked about everything, and I'm like even thinking like, why are you even in the movie to begin with?
Yeah.
I was ready to tell her, are you going to talk through the whole damn movie?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and I will say this, if I had another problem with the cast, sometimes I think, again, this might have been because it's Kenneth Branagh's theatrical style, sometimes I thought the acting was a little bit over the top. I'll give you 3 examples.
His role was.
Yeah.
He was so over the top where I didn't even get him anymore.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 examples. Number 1, you mentioned Poirot. There's a scene where he's interrogating somebody, and then suddenly he just yells at him. I'm like, what the hell?
Well, I didn't even mention his character's name because, in my opinion, he wasn't memorable.
Yeah, so. and then there's the opening scene where they're in a blues club, and it's set in 1937, but it's like it belongs in the jazz age in the 20s where people were doing more sexual-esque dancing. Right. It was a little too over the top.
Right,
and then,
right. Emma Mackey and Armie Hammer, like, straight off. That was like really over sexualized. Like, I don't even know what move that they were doing on the dance floor.
I don't think people would be doing. And then the third one is they're right about to go on the boat, and Gal Gadot is doing this dramatic, over-the-top thing. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Like, where the hell did this come out
Exactly.
of? You know, they should have... It wasn't paced right.
Yeah.
It definitely was not a movie that was paced right. Did I enjoy Gal Gadot's performance? Yes, I did. I mean, Gal Gadot's performance, as well as her wardrobe, was absolutely stunning, and Emma Mackey as well too. I mean, this movie had a lot of great wardrobe to it, a lot of great design. But again, going back to the story, that's where it fell apart. And with any movie, you really want the story to flow along with its design, and that's where Death on the Nile fails.
So I did like Annette Benning as Book's mother because she's overprotective of her son, and her son, you know, is in love with somebody, but the mother doesn't approve. So I mean, they all have interesting characteristics, and they all have a reason why they would want to kill this person that got killed, but I felt like it didn't go deep enough, because it's been a while since I saw the 1978 version, but I felt like I could see more in those performances than in here.
And it's just not a movie that, you know, you expect to be surprised, and it doesn't set itself up that way, and it should. And that's also where it fails as well for me. And it just... I don't know. So I just had so much high expectations. As much as this movie had been pushed back, you know, because of COVID and all that, I expected a lot more from this. It also, like, how long was it?
Oh gosh, I think it was like a couple hours, maybe.
Couple hours?
Yeah.
I mean, it moved, but there wasn't really much to move on. I mean, it's just like all of a sudden you're like in these situations and you don't even know like how you got there in the first place.
That was my problem.
It was so weirdly.
Yeah, with the characters,
written.
I mean, I like how we were introduced to the characters where you had enough information to go off of to start with, but I felt like Russell Brand's doctor character and Rose Leslie's character as Gal Gadot's French assistant, I felt like I mean, later on you kind of got to know them a little bit more, but I felt like I didn't know them enough.
Right.
You know, so I mean, that was my problem. There's some characters you got to know better than others.
And, you know, maybe I would have liked Kenneth Branagh's portrayal of Poirot, maybe a little bit better if I knew his whole backstory. We know that he had, like, the love interest and everything. What the hell happened with that to make him be so depressed and to have him embark, like, on this other life that he's going on.
Well, there is a scene where he kind of tells Jacqueline, you know, a little bit about that.
Yeah, but not enough. We don't get enough. We don't even get like actually what really happened. He's just like, well, you know, I had her in my life and all this, but he never really got into detail really what happened. We got more of that like in the beginning, and to be honest, this movie opens up so boring.
I disagree with you, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, well, you like the classic black and white films, and, you know, some are good, but I don't know. Just how this movie opened up, I'm not really a fan of.
Okay.
And,
okay.
So.
Well, okay, well, let me ask you this. How, out of 5 stars, how would you rate this movie?
Gosh, I give it 2.
I would give it a 3. I think it's watchable. It's not great, but it's watchable, and it has its moments.
It's watchable, but it really kind of makes it cringe a little bit.
Yeah.
I just how star-studded this film is, and for it to fall apart at the end, I didn't get the. Okay, let me put it to you, just frankly, the beginning didn't make sense to me, and the end really didn't make sense to me either.
It makes sense to me.
The end was just...
I mean, we don't want to give it away, but the ending made sense to me.
I don't know, it just needed more substance for me.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely going with this 2-star rating.
Okay, well, let me ask you this without giving anything away. When you said you didn't feel like there were any surprises, the twist didn't surprise you at all?
No, because I kind of suspected it in the beginning. I mean, the second scene on the dance floor, that was the most memorable to me.
Yeah,
and it carried, and that's the scene that I remember the most from this movie, and that you shouldn't remember the second scene. You should remember like maybe like the middle or something of what happens.
Yeah.
Like even like the climax of this movie, it just didn't climax.
Yeah. Well, 'cause I admit, if I hadn't, I hadn't, like I said, I hadn't seen the '78 version in a while, and I forgot about the twist. And then in the middle of the movie, I'm like, oh wait, I think I remember it. And I mean, I think if I had not read the book or seen the movie, the other movie, I should say, I probably wouldn't have known. You know, because I think it was a little bit clever, you know, how they did it. So
but, I mean, maybe if you're a fan of this genre and the books and the movie, I mean, maybe I would look at it a little bit differently. So, but I don't know, it just didn't do it for me.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I thought it was good, not great. So anyway, it looks like we've got another splits here. So I think I liked it slightly more than Darren. I think I would probably say don't rush to the theaters. Since this movie was originally done by Fox and Disney is now owned by Fox, I don't know if it's going to show up on Disney Plus. But I would say maybe don't rush to the theaters. I think if you want to watch it at home, whether it's on a streaming service, whether it's a streaming service or if you still use DVDs, wait for that. I would say don't go to the theaters for this one. It's not, I don't think it's horrible, but it's definitely not something you have to run to the theaters and see. So.
If anything, go for the visual.
All right, well, that's our review of Death on the Nile. So we split. I liked it a little bit more than Darren. And of course, you know, this isn't the first time we've split. I think it makes the video more interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does. But like I said, I'm not taking my hat off to this. But I'll take my hat off to our loyal viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you have seen Death on the Nile, what did you think of it? Please post your comments in the comment box below. Please hit the like button, and if you're interested in being a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification for every time a video is uploaded. You'll be notified. And Darren, thank you very much. I'm going to take my hat off to you.
Okay, and I will do that for you too, Rob. Yeah. All right. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.